frightfully awesome friends, welcome back to Witchtionery. If you have yet to subscribe to this channel, then please do so because we are getting crafty and spooky all month long. Today I wanted to bring to you part 2 of the Simon Says Stamp Frightfully Fun card kit. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm only going to be using the Spooky Boo collection that came with this kit, and that would include the Spooky Boo 6x6 paper pack, the Pebbles Incorporated Spooky Boo Ephemera die cut shapes, which I'm now spilling out and sorting on my desk, and the Spooky Boo Puffy stickers. Now, if you're anything like me, then you kind of get very happy when you see ephemera die cut shapes, like the heavenly choir descends upon you. And the reason for that would be that you know that the cards are kind of going to make themselves. All you have to do is kind of put 2 and 2 together and get amazing. So I was very happy to see this in the kit, and I was very happy to see the coordinating paper pack that went along with it, because when everything coordinates together, it's just that much easier to make cards out of everything. So here I am just ripping out all of the paper from the actual pack so I can see which ones I want to hoard and keep and store and which ones I really wanted to use for today's video. And once I was done doing that and deciding which ones I wanted to use, I go ahead and start my first card. So for my first card, I decided on making one of our traditional tag cards, and I know this isn't very creative, and I know this is kind of a cop-out. However, I needed to give my brain some time to start on the more creative stuff, so I just decided to go for it. I was looking forward to relaxing tonight, so yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, I go ahead and I cut everything down or trim it down so it can fit on an A2 size card, and then I take out my hole puncher to make holes at the tops of my tags and some twine to make knots on top of them. If I could redo this card, I would honestly just use 2 tags per panel, and I would use my Puffy stickers to just add embellishments on the parts that didn't have anything before, instead of just trying to fit all 4 of these tags in one panel. I cut my little twines way too short, and it honestly really didn't add much, so I wasn't really pleased with this, but I didn't want to take it out either. I adhere down my panel to a piece of ivory cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and then I take out my Puffy stickers just so I can add a little bit more embellishment. So I go ahead and I add a little flower to the witch hat, and I add this little candy corn to the top of the No Tricks Just Tree tag. And just like that, that finished off my first card. For my second card, I wanted to use this paper just because it looked very elegant and very simple. And I also wanted to use the remaining tags that I cut out the first time, but I didn't really use. I'm also using my Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die to kind of just make panels out of everything. And then I'm just using my paper trimmer to trim off all of the stitch parts to make my panel slightly smaller than the A2 size card. Now, when I go ahead and I start experimenting how I want my tags, I'm very pleased with the layout that I first come up with, but then I go ahead and adhere everything the wrong way. And even when I redo it, it's still kind of wrong, and I was very sad about this, but I have to admit, I really do like the way that this card ends up turning out. If you guys know by now, and I'm sure you guys do if you've been watching this entire series, you know that I'm sending all of these cards out to my friends, and I'm sending out like one card that's like a blockbuster card and then a much simpler card with them so they can send to someone else. And I needed to make sure that I had flatter cards that weren't going to add too much bulk and too much postage to my mailing. So this is what these cards are, and for the next couple of videos you'll see a lot of cards like that just because I really needed to send those out. So I used my Puffy stickers to add some bats to my panel, as well as a little flower to my spider to make her look fabulous, and then I adhere my panel down to an apple green, or to a green apple card base, and that finished off this card. For my next card, I couldn't really decide between 2 different panels. Like, I didn't know if I wanted to use the candy paper more than I wanted to use the cobweb paper, so I ended up sacrificing both of them and making panels out of both. Here I am just, trimming off that excess stitched rectangle off of the actual panel to make these slightly smaller than the A2 size cards that I want. And I also wanted to trim off some of the excess of the previous papers I'd been die cutting, just because if we were really a part of a Paperholics Hoarders Anonymous like group. I'm sure like one of the amendments of that group is waste not thy paper or something like that. So I didn't want to waste my paper. I adhere the candy panel down to a piece of black cardstock. And once I was done with that, I also wanted to coordinate everything back. And I adhere this little orange piece down to my paper as well. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to just add a sentiment here and call it a day. And then I saw the little ephemera trick-or-treaters and I thought they would be so adorable on this panel. So I go ahead and I adhere down the background the background kids to the actual card, and I raise up my other two trick-or-treaters with some foam squares just so I can give this card a wee bit of dimension but not too much. And I also adhere down the sentiment trick-or-treat down to the orange piece, and I felt like that really rounded off my card very, very well. From my Puffy stickers, I'm also going to take out two little spiders, and then I'm going to reach for my Jelly Roll pen and give my spiders a little bit of a cobweb just so they can look like they're hanging down, and that finished off this card. And I think it is just so cute. Just so cute. For my next card, I did go ahead and I used that panel after all, so I guess it was a good thing I ended up cutting it. I'm going to just adhere this down to a piece of ivory cardstock, and once I was done doing that, I grabbed that huge haunted house because I just thought it was gorgeous, and then I saw that there was a little ghosty that came with the ephemera die cuts, and then I really was like, alright, this card is going to really come together because there's ghosts on the little haunted house. It's going to be lit, alright? Anyway, I raise up my ghost with some foam squares, and then I adhere down this little piece of orange paper down below my actual ghosty, and I just bring down my little haunted house just so it can match the actual little ghost on the right. I see that there's an Eek ephemera die cut, and I decide to bring it down so I can tape it down to my card, as well as this Happy Halloween die cut as well. I just think that that green from the Eek really brought a bunch of color to my card that I was missing prior. And off camera, I do add a little cobweb to the corner of this card to finish it. And I just love the way this one looks. For my next card, I was having a little bit of a paper dilemma. I really, really love the floral paper that was just in this kit, but I didn't want to use it all. I wanted to hoard it, so I ended up just cutting off 2 strips of it, and then I kind of start playing with it. I did want to use this bat paper that came with the Spooky Boo 6x6 paper. One cool thing about this paper pack is that it actually has like these embossed raised images, and it gives for great texture to your paper. It adds a little bit of oomph to what would otherwise be kind of a plain card. So yeah, I really, really love this paper pack. I think I might actually buy it for myself just to have. Although I already have an obnoxious amount of Halloween paper, so I honestly should chill. Anyway, I adhere down all of my little images with the exception of like the pumpkin and the cats. Those are actually raised up on foam circles, not sure, honestly. Like if they're squares or if they're circles, but whatever. They're just raised. I then try to make this little floral die cut work, but it's obviously way too big. So I do go against it just because I didn't want the Hey Pumpkin to be covered up. I instead just kind of wanted it to, be visible. That's why I chose it. So I did notice that there was a smaller floral die cut in this ephemera pack, so I did use that one instead, and I just raised that up with some foam circles, and that worked so much better. After I was done adhering that down, I adhere my panel down to my royal purple cardstock, and this cardstock is just a little bit dirty. I'm not sure how it got smudged, but it did, and I don't know why I didn't fold it the other way so I could cover that up. Also, of course, because this is my favorite card, I had to fidget with it the most, so I had to like retape down my sentiments. And once I was done with that, of course, I am going to adhere it down, and that finished off my card. Oh, after I add a few more puffy stickers just to everything. I wanted to make sure that this little embellishment was a little bit fuller And I did want to add a little butterfly to my pumpkin. I forgot all about that, guys. I'm sorry. For my next card, I wanted to use this amazing pumpkin paper. I thought it was super adorable, and I almost contemplated not using it, but I really wanted to use one of these headstone, or like, I'm not sure what these are actually called. If anyone knows, like, let me know. But to me, it kind of just looks like an awesome mirror. So I'm going to adhere down this mirror down to my card panel, and I'm also going to raise up my little bat, just because I just think that bat goes so well. It kind of looks like he's like hovering the actual mirror. And then I'm going to use that other floral embellishment that I didn't use before on the bottom of this card. I'm also going to, of course, use a bunch of my Puffy stickers to decorate it and make it a focal point against that awesome pumpkin paper. I'm also adhering this down to a piece of orange peel cardstock, and that finished off my card. For my last card, I forgot completely that this set brought this adorable Simon Says Stamp Ghost Boo die, and I just could not, make a video without trying it at least. So I cut this out twice, and I adhere it down to the paper that had all the little trick-or-treaters on the background. I then adhere all of the little boos on the inside of my ghost, just so I can then take out the actual letter part and leave the empty space behind, so I can have some negative space sort of cards. I'm going to adhere down the Let's Party using some foam circles, and then I'm going to, in the inside of the card, adhere a little strip of the ghost paper, as well as these awesome stars to finish off my card. And I just love the way that this came out. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching my 2 videos. If you need a recap of everything we created, here we are. And there's that smudge that I absolutely hate. There's also a recap of the first 4 cards that we made in our previous video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Take care.